Most women assume that when a man becomes successful, he remembers the woman who looked best beside him. Usually, that is not the woman he remembers most. The woman he remembers is often the one who saw something in him before there was evidence, before the money, before the title, before the polished image, the improved wardrobe, the suddenly impressive social circle, and the new habit of speaking as though he personally invented hard work. She believed in a man while he was still negotiating with his own doubts. And that creates a psychological debt that can follow him for years. By the end of this video, you will understand why some men become deeply attached to the woman who believed in them early, why they may spend years comparing other women to her without admitting it, why success can make him miss her more rather than less, and why this type of attachment is not always as romantic as it appears. Because the woman who believed in him before he was successful did not merely offer affection, she offered him an identity before he had earned one. And men do not easily forget the person who saw them as powerful while they still felt ordinary. A man's ambition is rarely as clean as he makes it sound. He may tell you he wants to build, create, win, provide, achieve, become someone. And perhaps he does. But underneath that ambition is often a quieter hunger, the need to escape a private feeling of inadequacy. He is not simply pursuing success. He is running from the version of himself that felt unimportant. This is why the beginning of a man's journey can be psychologically brutal. He may have vision, but no proof. He may have confidence in public, but panic in private. He may speak about his plans with conviction, then lie awake wondering whether everyone around him can see that he is guessing. At that stage, praise from strangers means very little. Strangers can admire potential because they have nothing at stake. Their approval is cheap. It costs them nothing to say, "You're going to do great." But when a woman close to him believes in him, when she sees his ability before the world has confirmed it, her belief enters a much deeper place. It becomes evidence against his self-doubt. Her faith tells him, "Perhaps I am not insane for thinking I can become more." That is a powerful gift. But it is also a dangerous position for a woman to occupy, because she may not realize what she has become in his mind. She is no longer only a girlfriend, a lover, a companion, or a wife. She becomes associated with the origin story of his rise. And people protect their origin stories because they protect the illusion that their success has meaning. Now this is where most people misunderstand the psychology. They think a man remembers the woman who believed in him because she was simply there for him. That phrase is too soft. It misses the point entirely. He remembers her because she witnessed him before the mask was complete. After a man gains status, he begins living in a different social environment. People become warmer. They laugh more easily at his jokes. They return his calls. They find his opinions fascinating. Suddenly, people who previously had the personality of a parking meter are interested in his childhood dreams. He notices this. Of course he does. A man may enjoy the attention, but he is rarely fooled by it completely. Somewhere beneath the ego, he knows that much of the new admiration is directed at the visible symbols around him. His position, his access, his money, his influence, his perceived value in the hierarchy. Success gives a man options. It also makes human motives harder to trust. And that is why the woman who believed in him before the symbols existed becomes psychologically significant. She knew him when there was no obvious reward for choosing him, no status to borrow, no lifestyle to enter, no public proof that he was worth the investment. Her belief appears purer because it happened before his value became socially obvious. Whether it actually was pure is another question. Human beings are complicated. We are all capable of believing in someone partly because we love them, and partly because we want to be right about them. But in his memory, the early believer often becomes almost sacred. She saw the unfinished version. That is what makes her difficult to replace. There is real psychological research behind this. In 1999, researchers Stephen Drigotas, Carol Rusbolt, and their colleagues published research on what became known as the Michelangelo phenomenon. Their work found that close partners can influence one another's movement toward an ideal self. In other words, when someone sees your potential clearly, affirms it, and behaves in ways that support it, you become more likely to grow into that version of yourself. This matters because the woman who believed in a man before he was successful may have done more than encourage him. She may have helped organize his self-concept. She made his better future feel psychologically available. He may have worked for his success. He may have made the decisions. He may have taken the risks. But her belief can become fused with the memory of becoming. And memory is not fair. It does not distribute credit according to facts. It distributes emotional importance according to intensity. A woman who met him after the victory may enjoy the rewards. But the woman who stood near him during uncertainty is connected to the battle itself. That distinction stays with him. What happens next is where it becomes dangerous. Because a man can remember the woman who believed in him without being capable of loving her well. Those are two very different things. A man may carry enormous gratitude toward a woman and still betray her. He may miss her and still mistreat her. He may credit her privately for his growth while behaving as though she is disposable in public. He may feel that she knows the real him, then resent her for knowing too much. This is one of the more uncomfortable patterns in male psychology. The person who has seen a man at his most vulnerable can become emotionally valuable and emotionally threatening at the same time. She remembers the insecurity beneath his confidence. She knew him before the achievements gave him armor. She may know the ambitions that sounded foolish before they became respectable. She has access to the archive. And some men hate being reminded that they were ever uncertain. Success can make a man more protective of his image, not less. Once he has built a new identity around competence, influence, or wealth, he may become uncomfortable around the woman who witnessed his earlier fragility. She does not necessarily judge him. In fact, she may be the only person who never did. But her presence reminds him that his polished exterior is constructed. He feels exposed around her. The irony is almost beautiful. He craves the woman who saw him before success, yet he may distance himself from her because she can see through the performance after success. A man can spend years looking for a woman who makes him feel understood, while avoiding the one woman who actually understood him. Human beings have a talent for treating their deepest need like a threat. It keeps life interesting, or at least expensive in therapy. Now this is where most people misunderstand the psychology again. Women often believe that if they supported a man through his early struggle, that support should guarantee loyalty once he succeeds. But emotional investment does not automatically create character. Believing in a man does not transform him into a man who knows how to honor belief. If he is insecure, he may reinterpret your support as something he was entitled to receive. If he is entitled, he may decide his eventual success proves that he never needed anyone. If he is deeply status-driven, he may start seeing relationships as accessories to his new identity. And if he is ashamed of his past, he may discard the people associated with it, not because they did anything wrong, but because he wants to erase the evidence of who he used to be. This is why words are not enough. A man may tell you, You were there when nobody else was. Listen carefully to what follows that sentence. Does he show loyalty when new options appear? Does he include you in the life you helped him psychologically imagine? Does he protect your dignity when his social status changes? Does he acknowledge your contribution without making you beg for basic respect? Or does he use nostalgia as a substitute for accountability? Some men become experts at sentimental language. They will tell you that you are special, different, the only one who really knew me. Then they will proceed to treat you as though emotional history is a coupon that expires at checkout. Never confuse being memorable with being valued properly. A man can remember you forever and still fail you completely. This is why the most emotionally powerful woman is not necessarily the woman who gives the most. It is the woman whose belief does not require self-erasure. She can support a man's ambition without becoming a supporting character in his story. She can admire his potential without financing his delusions. She can encourage him without accepting neglect as the price of his dreams. There is a difference between believing in a man and becoming the unpaid staff of his future empire. One is love. The other is a job with terrible benefits. A woman must understand that belief itself has value. To see possibility in someone during a period of uncertainty is not naivete. It is a form of perception. But perception must be paired with discernment. Ask yourself what he does with the belief you give him. Does it make him more generous, more disciplined, more protective of the connection? Or does it make him more comfortable taking you for granted? Does he become more accountable as he grows? Or does he begin to act as though your loyalty is merely the natural environment in which great men are supposed to develop? The way a man handles your belief tells you what kind of man he is becoming. If you want to understand these dynamics more deeply and examine the patterns in your own relationships with greater precision, one-on-one coaching is available through the link in the description. Monthly and yearly coaching options are also available for women who want ongoing guidance, sharper analysis, and a clearer understanding of the behavior they are dealing with. After ordering, check your spam or promotions folder, because important emails have an almost supernatural ability to disappear there. And subscribe to the newsletter for discounts and updates. What happens next is where the emotional trap reveals itself. Sometimes the woman who believed in him early remains attached to the idea that she will be rewarded once he makes it. She sees his potential as a promise. She tells herself that his distance, inconsistency, selfishness, or emotional coldness is temporary. He is stressed. He is focused. He will come back to himself when the pressure lifts. But success does not reveal a man's character from nowhere. It amplifies what was already present. If he was generous when he had little, he may become more generous with more. If he was selfish when he had little, success gives his selfishness better furniture. If he respected you before he had options, that respect may be real. If he became careless with you the moment he gained attention, then the attention did not corrupt him. It removed the need for him to pretend. Power does not always change people. Often, it gives them permission to become less discreet. This is why you should observe a man not only when he is struggling, but when he begins to rise. Watch what happens when other people start noticing him. Watch how he handles praise. Watch whether he becomes more grateful or more dismissive. Watch whether he expands his life in a way that includes you, or whether he begins quietly auditioning for a new audience. The man who truly values the woman who believed in him does not merely feel sentimental about the past. He makes her safe in the present. He does not use her loyalty as a resource to consume. He treats it as something rare that must be protected. And here is the final truth. Men remember the woman who believed in them before they were successful, because she gave them something status cannot buy. She gave them recognition before consensus. The world may applaud a man after he wins, but the woman who believed in him before he had proof gave him something more intimate. She saw the possibility before the crowd arrived. She did not follow the spotlight. In his mind, she helped turn it on. That memory can become a source of gratitude. It can become guilt. It can become longing. It can become resentment. Sometimes it becomes the quiet standard by which he measures every woman who comes later. But whether he remembers you is not the ultimate question. The real question is whether he had the emotional maturity to deserve the woman who believed in him when belief was a risk. If this video gave you a clearer way to understand why men carry certain women with them long after success changes everything, subscribe to the channel and like the video. And tell me in the comments, have you ever watched a man become successful and then reveal whether he truly valued the woman who believed in him before anyone else did? For a deeper understanding of female power, emotional leverage, standards, and the psychology behind attraction, order The Feminine Game through the link in the description. After purchasing, remember to check your spam or promotions folder for your order details, and visit the new channel, X-Pimp Explains Men Masterclass, where new 50-minute videos are uploaded weekly.